From the News Channel 5 Network and Out and About newspaper, this is Out and About Today. Sponsored by the Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Welcome to Out and About Today. I'm Brent Meredith. It may seem hard to believe, but Pride Month is here once again. And tonight we have an exclusive look at this year's festivities on a special Nashville Pride preview show. Coming up, Pam talks with Pride Festival details with members of the board, and Chuck has an in-depth look at the big name performers coming to Pride in the entertainment outlook. But first, I'm joined by my co-host Chuck and Nashville Pride President Joey Leslie for tonight's Buzz About. Welcome, guys.
Hi, Brent.
You look so nice on that red sofa. Can I just tell you?
Holy pops! It's nice to be on the new
I
set.
know. What do you think? What do you think? You're our
Lovely
first
set.
guest here.
I'm honored. I'm expecting Ellen to run out at some point. Like, where are we?
Well, she's a cardboard cutout
Pop out from that little corner right there.
Okay, good.
Well, it's nice. Now, yeah, you get to sit in a big boy chair. It's nice.
Love seat.
Well, welcome. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, June is officially Pride Month, and it started back in 1969. I'm sure none of us on stage are young enough, or old enough, rather, to remember that. But it's the anniversary of the Stonewall riots in New York City. And so we've had that tradition of carrying on Pride Month in June since then. So how have you guys celebrated Pride maybe since you first came out? Joey, you're shaking your head? Or we'll start with
you
Chuck.
take it, Joey.
I'll go with it. Yeah, so I've celebrated all my Prides here in Nashville since I moved here in 2007. And been involved at the festival in a lot of different capacities,
Yeah.
but always here. Maybe you have more interesting.
Well, no, I'm
history
curious
here.
though. What about 2007? Thinking back to then, as a spectator,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, what was it like for you then, as being your first one?
You know, I guess I can say more like over the years I've seen it definitely grow. What I see now, it's a little more high profile, especially with our location, and as Nashville's getting, you know, more high profile too. But also we're bringing in a different kind of broader audience, I think, with a lot more families and young kids, and a lot more straight allies.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what about you, Chuck?
My first Pride, because I really wasn't out, my first Pride was in LA. So, which, that was an eye-opener. But I was able to kind of, you know, that way you didn't feel like, if you weren't out, you didn't feel like you were going to be outed at the time. But it was really great to just see such a huge Pride, you know, and at that time even, it was like 4 nights of big name acts and that sort of thing, and the parade that they have, you know, down Santa Monica Boulevard, and for me, it was, you know, I want to say kid in a candy store, but it was just like, oh my gosh, this is what happened.
Look at all these gay
Yeah,
people.
exactly. And then I came to Nashville, and it was just like, oh, I think it was the next year, and I was out by that time, and it was just like, wow, we've got a Pride right here, and
Yeah.
you take a lot of pride in that.
You
Yeah.
do, you do.
Yeah.
And I'm
it
thinking
was in Centennial Park.
Yes, Centennial
Yeah.
Park. And I'm thinking back to my first one was in, I believe it was in Atlanta, I believe in '99. And I remember going to that one and then coming up here and going to the one in Nashville for the first time. And much smaller area, but still kind of nice to know that there was one here. And then just to see it grow over the 16 or so years has been phenomenal. And I know one of the things that we've been asked for as long as we've been involved, and I know you guys get this question, so I thought we should address it, is do we still need to celebrate Pride? I mean, I feel like the obvious answer is yes, but why do you think so?
I think we definitely do, and especially last year, I had a number of people, actually even, you know, kind of friends of friends, saying and bringing up, you know, we don't need, you know, Pride anymore. Why do you guys need Pride?
Yeah.
You know, now marriage equality is out there for everybody and that sort of thing. And I said, well, that's actually, I said, when you think about it though, I said, still, unfortunately, in this country, Pride is really the only place, in many places, where you can go and be yourself still.
Well, 100% yourself.
I mean, yeah, 100% yourself. I mean, normally you can't go in a lot of places still and have, you know, PDA, or you can't hold hands, or I say you can't, but if you do, you sometimes are at risk. Anyway, and so I thought, no, you really need to celebrate Pride
for
still
sure.
and keep that history.
I would say there were 18,000 people at the festival last year who would agree that
Yeah.
we need to have that. And there's still a lot of anti-LGBT legislation coming at us.
thank
and,
you.
You know, it's important that we have this, you know, event where we can get together and be unified and celebrate the victories. And there's a lot of activists and community groups that are working really hard throughout the year, you know, and we need to
Yes.
get together and celebrate them, and, you know.
Yeah, thank you for taking it to that point, because that's the one I was going to make, is that even though we may be visible, there's still things that are going on year to year to year that people need to be reminded that, you know, as we talk to people, some people don't know certain things are even the way they are.
Right.
So this gives us that opportunity to remind folks once a year, you know, what changes need to be made. So speaking of that, let's move on into this year. We're going to drill down a little bit later. I think you've got segments with Pam and Chuck. They're going to dig out all the details,
Yeah,
but I
for
thought we would
sure.
hit the surface here at the beginning. We've got a graphic up there to talk about our Pride dates this year. So Joey, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, so our festival weekend is June 24th and 25th this year. So we have the big Friday night concert with a great lineup, which we'll talk about, and then concert all day Saturday with all kinds of good stuff in store for y'all. We're elevating different parts of the festival, making some improvements. We've expanded our footprint. I don't want to spill too many beans here until I get with Pam later, but it's definitely going to be great.
Well, I think we got a little map up there too. I think it's important to note that we are back in Public Square Park,
Yep.
as we have been the last few years, and you kind of see a layout there. I believe that's on your website to get a closer look. What have you seen as the benefits as continuing to have it there?
Like I mentioned earlier, it's very high profile,
Yeah.
and it's allowed us to expand our footprint. We definitely needed to. We have a lot of vendors on the wait list early this year, so we really wanted to get as many people in as we could, for sure. And and just the visibility there is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and so leading up to the festival, there's a lot of other things. I remember back in the beginning, we had sort of Pride Week events, then we did Pride Month, and now we've almost got like year-to-year Pride events. So tell us how we ramp up to the festival.
For sure, we have a lot going on all year, and so one of our more popular events is Martinis and Jazz. I know you were there.
I ended up going home with a painting.
Yeah, yeah. Blame the martinis on that one.
I did.
Yeah, for sure. But so we have several others throughout the year. I got my cheat sheet here because we've got so much going on. But we have next, we have Turnabout and our Pride pageant coming up at Play Dance Bar soon. We also have Pride Night at the Sounds Stadium. So we'll have that's a fun family-friendly event that was been really popular last year.
Well, not to cut you off, we're just about out of time, and I know you wanted to talk
Yeah.
about some sponsors quickly. We're
Yeah,
going to
for
throw up
sure.
some of the top-tier sponsors this year to see who has helped celebrate.
Yeah, well, we've got some great sponsors, a lot of new and returning sponsors. Want to give a shout out to Bridgestone, who returns again this year as our presenting sponsor, and Nissan also returns this year. They're sponsoring our main stage this year. We also have Coors. New this year, we have Genesco and Journeys and Delta on board, and we have several others, but want to give a shout out to those major sponsors for sure.
Yes, it's always nice to support those who support us, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, listen, thank you very much. You're
Yeah.
not done yet, so stay where you're
I
at.
It's went by too fast.
I know he's coming back with
Yeah,
Pam.
yeah.
He and Phil both, but when they're with me, we're going to have a contest. They're having a
Ooh.
trivia contest.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, okay, so you guys are
feel
going
like
to stick
it make
around
you
for
ring.
that. But when we come back, Pam has your in-depth look at the festival and the team behind it all. Stay with us.